Live from Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you in to NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage exclusively on Flow College. Today's East Coast Conference matchup features the College of Staten Island Dolphins hosting the Firebirds of the University of the District of Columbia. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Foreman on the call alongside Nicholas Bavona. And for the College of Staten Island and the rest of the ECC, there are less than 2 weeks left in the regular season. For this Dolphins team, they are going to need at least 5 points to have even a slim chance at reaching the playoffs. Today's matchup with UDC is the first of 2 this week against teams they are chasing in the conference standings, and the team is very much in must-win territory the rest of the way. Nick, before we take a look at today's matchup, let's break down where these two teams stand in the East Coast Conference.
Well, you mentioned, Joe, it's pretty much must-win territory for the Dolphins. It's now or never. You just have 1 point right now in the ECC standings with 3 games left. And as for the Firebirds, they have a bit of more of a margin for error right now. They currently occupy a playoff spot with 5 points, and there are 3 conference games remaining on the schedule for them this season. A win over the Dolphins today pretty much puts them in a position where they can secure a playoff spot and can take away CSI's control over their playoff fate, depending, though, on the other results as well in the conference.
If the Dolphins want to remain certain of control over their playoff fate, they will need to knock off a Firebirds team that they have never beaten here today. And in 4 meetings, the Dolphins are 0-2 against UDC, dating back to 2021. But despite the winless record for the Dolphins, all of the meetings between these two teams have been close and generally low scoring. Also, this isn't the first time that these two sides have met, with major playoff implications for the CSI squad.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, Joe, every meeting between the two teams has either been a draw or decided by 1 goal. Neither side has scored more than 2 goals in any of their 4 matchups. Last season, the Dolphins visited UDC with their playoff hopes on the line. They lost that game, unfortunately, 2-1. And then UDC, an incredible run last year. They went on to win the ECC championship after finishing as the 6th seed during the regular season. An incredible mark.
What the Firebirds did last season certainly sent shockwaves through the ECC. And if you're the Dolphins, you're hoping that should you reach the postseason, you can replicate the success that UDC found in the playoffs last year. But to get there, this team will likely need to win 2 of their remaining 3 games at a minimum, possibly needing even more than just 6 points. We already spoke about their history against UDC, but what do the Dolphins have left on the schedule, and how have they fared against the opponents they will face the rest of the way?
Well, for the Dolphins today, Joe, they have just 2 matchups left after today's matchup. That was being against Mercy and Damon. The Dolphins have not scored against Mercy since 1978. They are 0-6-2 against the Mavericks and 0-3-2 since they announced that they were moving to D2 back in 2019. The Dolphins have defeated Damon for the first time in program history last season when they defeated them 3-2. The Wildcats are currently winless against the ECC this season, but they are 3-1 all-time against the Dolphins.
Certainly not an easy road to the playoffs for the Dolphins, but for us here on Sportsnet, this will be the final home soccer broadcast of the 2025 season. For the last time in 2025, we throw our CSI Soccer pregame show to a commercial break. When we come back, we dive a bit deeper into today's matchup between the Dolphins and Firebirds. More to come following a message from the sponsors of Flow College.
And your CSI Dolphins. CSI would like to thank all its corporate sponsors, Buffalo Wild Wings, TLC Physical Therapy, Jimmy Max, Kettle Black, Cobra, McDonald's, and Richmond University Medical Center. And now the starting lineup for the visiting Firebirds. A junior from Silver Spring, Maryland, number 2, Piazza Tamini. Senior from Washington, D.C., number 3, David Akitsanya. A junior from Silver Spring, Maryland, number 5, Mafira Wayesa. A junior from Kent, Rochester, number 7, Isaiah Daniel. A junior from Madrid, Spain, number 8, Ignacio Lopez. A freshman from Antigua and Barbuda, number 9, Alexander Moody Stewart. Number 14, Yama Nawabi. A junior from Cambridge, England, number 20, Alexander Stevens Lee. A senior from Swindon, England, number 21, Brandon Johnson. A junior from Lawton, Virginia, number 5, Zachary Parker. And in goal, a senior from Spain, number 1, Sergio Becerra. The Firebirds are coached by Matthew Thompson, and his assistants are Benjamin Mortimer and Jal Brusamolin. And now, the starting lineup for your CSI Dolphins. A graduate student from Staten Island, New York, number 4, Ty Torres. A senior from Baldwin, New York, number 5, Luis Asensio Cueva. A graduate student from Aberdeen, Scotland, number 6, Matthew Eaton. A sophomore from Brooklyn, New York, number 7, Karai Arslan. A graduate student from Tangier, Morocco, number 8, Bader Mesrar. A junior from Brooklyn, New York, number 10, William Lopez. Sophomore from Rome, Italy, number 16, Nicolo Cimini. Sophomore from Brooklyn, New York, number 18, Peterson LaRose. A freshman from New York, number 25, Felice Atanga. A freshman from Staten Island, New York, number 29, Kareem Matito. And in goal, a junior from Santo Domingo, number 30, Carlos Romero Estacio. The Dolphins are coached by Donato Kirchi, and his assistants are Michael Maher and Will Reed. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
Norman and Nicholas Bavona back with you from the College of Staten Island as we are just moments away from kickoff between the Dolphins and the Firebirds in this East Coast Conference matchup. It is a huge match for the College of Staten Island, still a big match for the Firebirds as well as they look to lock down an ECC playoff spot. A win, I don't believe, would mathematically clinch a spot for UDC, but it would put them right on the doorstep, pending other results from around the conference this week. And Nick, we talked a bit about what this game means to these two teams and the history between these two sides before the break. But when you look at this matchup and what the Dolphins did in their last match, facing a Queens College team that received regional votes toward a ranking, the Dolphins took a 1-0 lead in the first half of that one, held the lead for nearly 45 minutes. The Knights got even in the 66th, but looking at that match, how tough of a loss was that for the Dolphins, and what did you learn about this team from that matchup and the stat line?
Well, if you look at it, Joe, after Queens went down a man late in that game, the game was pretty much essentially a statistical stalemate in terms of shooting. Shots were 14-13 in favor of the Dolphins. Shots on goal favored the Knights 7-5. And the Dolphins, you have to look at it this way. They were kind of bailed out in a couple of ways by an early miscue in front of their own goal by a save from Carlos Romero Estacio. That could have easily put the Dolphins trailing going into halftime. And Queens pretty much dominated possession time for the second half of that game. So I think that was a problem. We talked about that a little bit in length of that game a couple of days ago. And the equalizing goal required a precise strike into the upper 90 that Romero Estacio had realistically no chance to save. So a tough one right there for CSI. But they had chances to finish throughout the matchup, which I think if you are the Dolphins, you have to think to yourselves, there are chances there. We definitely can try to make sure we get back on the right track and make sure we can finish those chances. And for Queens, they converted on that takeaway late in that game in the midfield that gave them the late game-winning goal.
And tell us a bit about the Firebirds and what they've done as of late. This team obviously has been a big challenge for the Dolphins, as CSI has never beaten them. But how do the Firebirds look coming in, and what are the Dolphins tasked with slowing down today? A team that really has gotten hot on the attack recently.
As we have an early foul right there, a free kick for the Dolphins. But for the Firebirds, they have just 3 goals in 4 conference matchups this season. The Dolphins with 4 goals in 4 ECC matchups, 1 goal in each game. For the Firebirds, they have scored 2 or more goals in their last 3 matchups. 4-0 win over Virginia State, a 2-1 win over Deauville, and a 2-2 tie with Caldwell. Their most recent scheduled game, though, against Chestnut Hill was canceled. So, Joe, they are coming into today's game well rested, and they haven't played in a week. Sometimes that tends to help a team. Sometimes that doesn't help a team. So we'll see how the Firebirds come out and respond.
Should definitely be interesting to see how they do respond to time between matches. You would think that at this point in the season, in preparation for a conference match, the extra days probably shouldn't hurt, but we'll see if that indeed comes to fruition here today. We'll get you the starters for both teams shortly, as well as those were introduced while we were in commercial break. And for those tuning in on Flow College, some of you got a message from the sponsors of Flow. Some of you stayed with us here for the introduction of starting lineups. So we don't have it down to an exact science. Really no way for Nick and I to tell which segment of our audience is in break and which is not. But hopefully those of you who were with us got a chance to see the starting lineups for the 2 teams.
Still a learning process for us here on Flow. But after today, Joe, as we know, after this, next time we'll be on the air will be for basketball, you and I. So could be a little bit of time off.
I had hoped to make the trip to Buffalo should the Dolphins be in contention for a playoff spot. It does not appear I'm going to be able to make that trip. So this very well could be our last soccer call of the season. Meanwhile, Ty Torres looks to send one toward goal, and the grab is made there by Becerra. Starting lineup for UDC: Becerra, Tamini, Akinsanya, Wayesa, Daniel, Lopez, Moody Stewart, Nawabi, Stevens Lee, Johnson, and Parker. For the Dolphins, Romero Estacio in goal. The rest of the CSI starters in numerical order: Torres, Asensio, Cueva, Beaton, Arslan, Mesrar, Lopez, Chimini, LaRose, Atanga, and Medito.
Dolphins get awarded another free kick right there, as drawing the foul was Arslan. So another free kick for CSI.
And we mentioned it already, Nick, that loss earlier in the week for the Dolphins, or I should say last weekend, a really, really tough loss for the CSI team. It looked like they were sure to come away with a point in that match, up a goal, and eventually had a man advantage with about 13 minutes to go. And it was a really difficult loss for this Dolphins squad, dropping that match to Queens against a team that came in playing very well, and in a game where not only was it senior day, but it was a very important game for this Dolphins squad, needing a point in the conference standings. And I think we opened the right way. It's effectively now or never. The Dolphins, mathematically, could they afford to come away with just one today? Probably. But I think you're looking at this game as one you need to win.
Yeah, and I think that's the more frustrating part about the game on Saturday, Joe. As, you know, they look at it like this. You were in a position, even though they gave up the game-tying goal, and you were up a man with about 13 minutes left, you were at least looking at it as saying, all right, you know what, maybe if we can't get the win, we can at least grab a point out of this game And unfortunately for the Dolphins, that last-second goal with about 3 minutes left in the game was the deciding factor, of course, and that hurt. And that's the difference of getting at least 1 point to not getting any points, and now making these games must-win territory for this Dolphins squad.
Dolphins, you mentioned, Nick, last time they faced UDC, very similar position, not quite as late in the season as they faced the Firebirds last year. They faced UDC in their final game as a chance here for LaRose to play one into the box, and sliding past the ball was Arslan. Shot there by Atunga was blocked on the way in.
Another corner.
Dolphins will earn another corner, but that match between CSI and UDC took place on the very last day of the season last year, and the Dolphins were still alive for a playoff spot. They did need some help, but the Dolphins did not win the match, so it effectively didn't matter. Corner on the way, center of the box, headed toward the top of the 18. Medito, short pass. Lopez looking for a shooting lane and didn't get all of that one. Did have the lane, but couldn't connect cleanly with the ball.
Yeah, it looked like it went out the side of his cleat right there, and he had a little bit of a stumble, which probably is the reason why that shot wasn't effective as they had hoped. The Dolphins do get an early shot on goal. They're second now of this match.
It'll be a throw in here for UDC. That one cleared away at the top of the 18 by Medito. Arslan short pass back to Mesrar, and an interception in the back made there by Johnson. For the Dolphins, after today, just 2 matches left. The Dolphins back end of their schedule, all conference games. The women still have some non-conference soccer left. But something that you and I highlighted during the last women's soccer broadcast, and we continued to monitor during the men's game as well, a very important result for women's soccer on Saturday, as St. Thomas Aquinas College knocked off Dieuville. And with that victory by the Spartans, the Dolphins moved into a playoff spot. They are now a point ahead of the Saints. Here come the Firebirds on the attack. At the edge of the box along the touchline, that was Lopez. Looked to put one in front. We'll try again. And UDC will earn their first corner. But that's a really big result for the women now, as if the season ended today, they were in a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, how huge is that to put yourself? You always talk about it, Joe. You want to put yourself in a position to be in a position, and right now, the Dolphins are in that position to be in the position. So now it's up to them to hold on to it and make sure that they can secure that playoff spot come season's end.
Corner on the way toward the near post, headed out of danger by Mesrar. LaRose giving chase. Dolphins certainly are going to need some help, as that one's headed on goal and saved by Romero Estacio. Just over 8 minutes gone by here in this first half. The Dolphins have a couple of conference matches left against Mercy and Damon. If the Dolphins do not earn another point, then Dieuville would also have to go the rest of the way without earning a point. That being said, they take on the top 3 teams in the ECC during their last 3 games. Dolphins could do themselves a huge favor if they could get a point or even a win and to pick up 3 there, but the opportunity is certainly there late in the season. The men hoping for the same opportunity and should have it if they come away with a win today. Free kick may have contacted the heel of Arslan. It's cleared away by UDC. Firebirds, one of a couple of teams the Dolphins are within striking distance of in the conference standings. Still not within a win. Dolphins 4 points behind UDC in the standings coming in. They're also 3 behind Dieuville and 5 behind Malloy. Throw here for the Dolphins. Taken into the midfield and headed away. So, Nick, I'm not sure if you knew this either. Came to my attention yesterday. You mentioned that our first broadcast for basketball is coming up. Did you know that our first broadcast for basketball is a triple header and not a double header this year.
It's a triple header, really?
6 teams are coming to participate in the Tournament of Heroes this year.
Okay.
So for us, that means some extra games. Cimini for Torres. Torres taking his time back to Cimini. His shot was blocked. Ball sent in the air from the midfield. Cimini looking to control. Arslan has it. Wanted LaRose. Pass broken up.
And I'm assuming for that triple header, the matchups have obviously been announced by now. So
Yeah. So I got the full schedule a couple of days ago, and I was a bit surprised to see that we had 3 games. I was not aware 3 teams were coming in. Now I know. But it's going to be a very busy weekend for us. Perhaps more games than have ever been called on Sportsnet in a 3-day span.
Of course, the Conference Challenge will follow that for the women's basketball team as well. So it certainly will be a busy weekend.
Ball in the midfield, controlled by the Dolphins.
Great move
LaRose
right there.
with a nice move, still being defended closely. Akinsanya right with him. And
He's able to
finally
draw
a
the
foul
foul.
is whistled.
And we saw what he did on Saturday, Joe. Great movement in that game, but how about the goal that he scored as well against the Knights? Somehow finding a way to get past the defenders and getting himself in a position right in front of the net and get past the goaltender, or goalkeeper, I should say, to put them up 1-0.
The ever-raging debate, among us anyway,
Yeah.
can you say
Goaltender?
goaltender for soccer?
Yeah. I don't think so.
I'd be inclined to say no, as that's a good ball sent toward goal, but well wide of the frame. Off the free kick, the Dolphins looking strong early. Cimini over to Asensio Cueva. Puts one toward the back post, but that's over everyone. Dolphins still control. Atanga tripped up a bit, trying to keep his footing, and Dolphins earn a free kick.
Yeah, very late call, and you can see the Firebirds were not happy about that one right there. It's another free kick for CSI.
You'll take that if you're the Dolphins. I think you'd prefer the free kick in that spot above the play on. And we've already seen a couple of nice set pieces for the Dolphins in this game. They'll line up a couple of yards outside of the 18 on the far side. LaRose and Mesrar there. Ball immediately knocked away.
Hand goes up, though, as who's calling the Dolphins.
The Dolphins were flagged for an offsides there. Here's a look at the previous free kick. Big opportunity there. Chance to put that on goal or put it in front.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. You know, the Dolphins, I think what the beauty of this team, Joe, and you asked me earlier what have I seen for the Dolphins these last couple of matchups. I think what's been more, impressive is that they're getting more shots on goal. Earlier in the year, that was a bit of a problem for them, as they're looking for a handball call there, no call. But they're getting a lot more shots, whether that be on goal or not. They're getting the opportunities and, creating those chances. I think that's what's been a very good sight to see if you're a Dolphins fan. Now the question is going to be, can they strike and get those goals that they haven't been able to and put themselves in a spot where they're trying to clinch that postseason berth?
Well, that's just it, Nick. Can this team finish in big spots and convert when they have the opportunity? Because they've had a lot of chances, and you could make the case they could have maybe 2 or 3 wins, perhaps 4 if you're really looking at every chance. And another one may be coming here. LaRose moving in, tried to play it in front, and the Firebirds got just enough of it, but it will be a Dolphins corner. The ball was deflected over the touchline, and now they've changed the signal to a throw. So initially they signaled corner. That signal becomes throw-in. Quickly off the throw, Atanga back to Mesrar. Thought about the cross. He'll try it here. And that ball did not get to Torres, who was waiting. Beaton sends it in the direction of Torres, who will track it down. Cimini Avoids a challenge. Working back toward the midfield. Medito for Beaton. Beaton given some room now, moving forward. Beaton gets into one, and he puts it just wide. Matthew Beaton with a long strike. And Becerra diving to try and make that stop. Watched it travel wide of the post.
And you'll see just how a little bit wide of the post it was on the close-up replay. Bit of a scare right there.
That is close. That is really close.
Huge scare early for the Firebirds, but they're able to at least breathe for now as this game remains scoreless.
Well, Beaton already has a goal this year. Made a bid for number 2 right there. Medito tracks this one down. Looking for somewhere to go with it. Ball toward Torres is sent away by Becerra. Ball in the midfield now. Stevens Lee dumps it off. Cross on the way, headed out of danger by Beaton.
Nice play right there by Beaton. And we saw another great game from him on Saturday as well, Joe. Made some great slide tackles to keep the pressure off in the defensive zone. And nice header right there to keep the ball from across inside the box.
Beaton for the Dolphins this year has done a good job defensively. I mentioned already he's contributed a goal as well, but has been a good addition to this squad. And Dolphins hope that with 3 games remaining, that some of those new additions can really play a big role in a push toward the postseason. We mentioned in Game 1, the Dolphins with a lot of new faces out there and a couple of big returners in Arslan and Asensio Cueva and LaRose as well, Mesrar. A lot of players mixing in with the newcomers. Lopez, he's had some huge goals, and another newcomer who's been huge, Wolfgang Alvarado, in terms of goal scoring. Ty Torres has a goal as well. And you take a look out there for the Dolphins, just about every player who is out there on the pitch has contributed in some way. And I think you see players like Chimini, Medito, and Atanga out there who haven't started every game, have really solidified their spot and earned a bigger role with this team as the season has progressed. Meanwhile, the Firebirds looking to work in the attacking third. Angles cut off well by the Dolphins. There's a good tackle by Chimini, and that ball intended for him instead found the foot of Tamini. UDC with it once again in the midfield. And a foul committed as the Firebirds worked it forward into the attacking third. So it's going to be a free kick from a pretty dangerous spot here for UDC. And the Dolphins have really done a good job throughout this match of preventing any real chances for the Firebirds. They have conceded the one corner, but now this free kick certainly could set up a scoring opportunity.
Certainly right now is their best chance early in this game. They do have a shot on goal already, but we'll see what they try to draw up here as they look for the first goal of this matchup. And we saw how many times on Saturday as well, Queens were in spots like this where they almost were able to strike for a goal as well.
Free kick on the way, easy save for Romero Estacio off the attempt by Lopez.
I think that's another thing too, Joe, about this team. You know, I think earlier in the year we had conversations on who would be the goalkeeper for this Dolphins team. And Mario Stasio has established himself as that goalkeeper. He's made some great saves this season. We mentioned earlier on that big save off the Dolphins turnover that could have put the Knights in that game up early 1-0, but that save kept the game scoreless and gave the Dolphins the chance later on to take the 1-0 lead in that matchup.
And when you look back at that game against Queens, as we have a timeout for the injury, we said it at halftime. The Dolphins very easily could have been trailing that game by a goal or even 2 at halftime. in that matchup. The Knights had plenty of chances to score during the first half and did not. And after we got about 20 minutes into half number 2 without a Queens goal, you were starting to believe maybe this Dolphins defense could find a way to keep Queens off the scoreboard. Obviously not an easy thing to do, but I think there had to be some belief and some confidence building up on that CSI sideline. Queens got even, and you understand it's a very talented team that's playing extremely well. They're going to get a goal, but the Dolphins late in that match did have chances for more and then had the man advantage. Failing to score hurts, but not only failing to score, but also allowing the game-winning goal with a man advantage, that really stings. And I think coming into a game that you have to have essentially against the Firebirds today, we're going to learn a lot about this Dolphins squad and their resilience coming off a really tough loss on Saturday. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Keep in mind also, I think one of the storylines we had going after that game was the physicality between those two teams. It was a very back and forth but rough affair between the two teams. So you talk about the toughness and resiliency of this team. We're definitely going to see it today because coming off of a matchup like that and now having to play a couple days later, it certainly is going to take a lot of willpower for a team to try to overcome what happened on Saturday and try to bounce back here today.
I'll tell you, Nick, if the game was Monday, which it wouldn't be, you don't have Saturday, Monday back-to-backs very often, but if you're coming off a game with that level of physicality and playing just a couple of days later, would have been really, really tough. And I think given how physical that game was, perhaps the advantage for UDC having the extra days off magnified just a bit. Definitely something to think about. Dolphins, meanwhile, cleared it over the sideline. The Firebirds are going to throw in here. And UDC wanting a foul off the long throw. There's a player down, and see if they stop the clock again.
I think the plaintiff says the player down was kicked in that region, so hopefully he is okay.
In that region, you say.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it any less painful. Puts a colorful spin on it, but UDC immediately petitioning for a foul.
Yeah, I'm looking at the replay. It's you kind of see it at the last second of it, but I can see where the complaint is coming from if you're the Firebirds.
They'll throw again here. So I'm assuming that they whistled something if they were throwing again. Was it cleared? As that shot is saved, I guess it was cleared at the end of that sequence. And with no whistle, they just awarded the throw again. LaRose looking to send it toward Asensio Cueva. No room to make that pass. Jamini in the direction of Lopez. It rebounds over to LaRose. LaRose for Atonga, who has some speed moving up the sideline. Atonga trying to play it forward toward the corner. Cross broken up. Dolphins controlled for a moment, but UDC sends it back into the midfield. Tonga forced toward the sideline, and UDC clears it away. We have a question from our Technic, so you take over for just a moment. I want to communicate how we're doing this here.
In the meantime, here come the Firebirds on the attack now. Dolphins trying to keep this game scoreless. That one almost going out of play. And now indeed does. That'll be Brandon Johnson here on the throw-in. So he throws it back to the goalkeeper. Just About 22:30 remaining in this first half. As that header misses, and it'll be a Dolphin throw-in. LaRose being pressured by two defenders. That pressure leads to a Dolphin now throw-in coming up for the Firebirds. A mistake right there. As UDC will make another substitution. I believe that's Lopez that just checked out of the game. Still free for all. Now here comes the Firebirds with the ball once again. Trying to set up a potential cross, but to no avail.
All right, Nick, trying to help our techs over at Flow sort out some questions surrounding our stream setup, but I am back. Unfortunately, we have to double as producer and play-by-play commentary, so occasionally I'm summoned as the Dolphins look to work it up the far sideline. Just keep an eye on that exchange for me on the right, Nick,
Yep.
and if there are any updates, be sure to let me know.
Will do.
Meanwhile, we had a foul in the midfield. Whistle came in. Romero Stasio has it on his foot. Now Medito for Cimini. Back to Asensio Cueva. Asensio Cueva working through a challenge. Torres could not get to it. Ahead of his marker, Johnson with a big sliding tackle to keep that off the foot of Ty Torres. If he makes a mistake there and commits the foul or lets that ball get by, it could have been big trouble for UDC.
Yeah, it would have been a great opportunity to score right there for Torres. That's a heads-up slide tackle play right there by Johnson. Prevents a potential scoring chance right there for the Dolphins.
Believe we had a foul called prior to the clearance. And it will be Becerra to attempt a free kick. Asensio Cueva got a piece of it first, but Mesrar is whistled for a foul. Parker was jockeying for position with him, waiting for that ball to come down, and I think they got Mesrar for the foul there. So another free kick for UDC. Dolphins will set up a wall of two here. Free kick on the way, headed out of danger by LaRose and over the touchline. UDC will throw following a pair of substitutions. In terms of the numbers on the back of the Firebird uniforms, pretty good. I think Tamini just jogged back in. Trying to get a look at who the second player was that came on. I'm not sure Tamini ever came out. Sometimes tough off live stats alone to pick up exactly where the subs were and who's on, who's off. Some players shuffle positions. It looks like they came on, but we'll have the official substitutions. Nawabi out, Gamez in, Jetchi out, and Tamini is indeed in, so I was correct. Throw in Staten Island here. Just over 18 minutes to go in this first half.
I feel like for us, when we've been doing stats and sometimes I think one of the better feelings is getting the numbers right.
There's a good through ball, but Beaton is there, and he's taken down as he cleared that one away. So Dolphins awarded a free kick in their own end, under 18 minutes to go in the half. Now, I know, Nick, as I'm in my email reading through the exchange with the texts, I know there have been some issues around the ECC with production truck feeds pushing over to Flow. And I did try and explain how we are streaming in our weekly meeting. Unfortunately, it was as if I was speaking a different language. I think the first time you do this setup, it can be a bit intimidating and complicated. Once you've done it once, you do not have to undo any wires.
Right.
All you need is a dongle with those adapters plugged in. You never have to unplug them.
I will say I'm reading the message, and there's like a lot of like stuff. It's like I'm looking at it, I'm like I have no idea what this means,
Yeah.
but I'll take the word for it.
I think once we got through our first broadcast and I was able to see what a full game stream would look like for 90 minutes, it became much easier to get set each game. And honestly, Nick, I think the biggest hurdle was getting on the campus network because we have an ultra secure, keep all outsiders from accessing it kind of network. It is tough to get on the internet here on campus, and effectively it's sort of impossible to live stream on it without going through an extensive process with IT. They were great throughout the offseason. That being said, we didn't get through until the week of the game. I was about to leave for Florida. I came here the day before my trip, and we got online, and I came back, and the day after my return flight, we had game one.
That feels like a lifetime ago, the way that the season has gone sometimes.
I think the way that the two teams scheduled, both the men and the women, the season really flew. The schedule for the men, I think they had 16 matches on their schedule, maybe 14, somewhere in that 14 to 16 range. And they only had 6 home matches. So the men haven't been at Dolphin Soccer Park very often. I've covered a couple of their road games. In fact, I've covered 3 of their road games. So I've covered as much men's soccer as I have women's soccer for the most part because of the 2 men's road games that I covered. But the schedule was very, very front-loaded, and the men opted not to play any non-conference games near the latter portion of their schedule. So that really lightened the load late in the season, and seems like we were returning for our game against Lincoln as this free kick toward the back post is over everybody. But it seems like just yesterday I was returning to cover the game against Lincoln. That was our first game broadcast from the College of Staten Island since September 28th.
Yeah.
That was me, you, and Aaron for the
Yes.
28th. And or that was me and you on the 28th, or perhaps just me. It was just me on the 28th, me, you, and Aaron on the 24th. But either way,
I believe so, yeah.
either way, we cover the game on the 15th, and before you know it, a week later, we're done.
Yeah.
After today, we clear out the box and get prepared for basketball. On Saturday, I'm going to do a full basketball setup with all of our new equipment. We're going to make sure everything works as expected. And then from there, we wait for November 14th. Here come the Firebirds, working up the near side, looking to play it into the box. Beaton once again is there. A lot of pressure applied from behind. And a lot of contact.
Yeah, I was going to say
and
the
foul
Dolphins.
calls.
That was a very ugly possession right there, unfortunately, for CSI, Joe, because they were trying to clear it. They couldn't find any room to clear it. And by the time they were trying to clear it, it led to another turnover, leading to that now free kick that's pretty much just outside of the box. So this is a dangerous spot right here for the Dolphins, trying to prevent a goal from scoring.
Well, Dolphins haven't really given up any quality shot attempts for the most part. I think the best shot the Firebirds had was a relatively uneventful shot on goal. Didn't really have much on it. But they're conceding free kicks from closer and closer and closer to the 18. And
Right.
I think especially from a spot like this, centered above the box, big cause for concern here. There's a lot you can do from this position off of a set piece. Yesterday I watched what they called the 1000 IQ set piece on YouTube. I'll explain to you what they did following this free kick. Clock winding inside of 13 minutes to go in the half. Free kick on goal, kept out. The follow is high.
And-
Huge chance on an empty net for UDC.
And you can see that, Joe, UDC is complaining that that one went in the net on the bounce.
We'll get a look at it on replay, Nick. It was awfully close. What a moment in this game.
Very tough to tell from
You'll
that
have to
angle.
slow that one down
Yeah.
a great deal. And I think it was Beaton who came in after the initial save and disrupted the follow-up shot because it looked for sure that the Firebirds were about to take the lead. First, let's see if this goes in. Oh, yes, it did. That went in, Nick. That absolutely went in. And Beaton, I think, saved a goal there.
Yeah.
Now, it is tough. We're going to run that back one more time later once we have a longer stoppage, perhaps before halftime. But looking at those pellets, Nick, it sure looked like that went in. The pellets can be deceiving with the white line. What do you think?
I'll have to look on the monitor also with the replay because
Oh.
I'm looking at it on the.
Yeah. The monitor made it look like a goal. Nick, you're going to have to take over.
Okay. Dolphins get another corner here because LaRose trying to get that one in front. Dolphins have a chance, but it gets cleared out by the Firebirds. Looks like Cimini was the one that was trying to get that pass from LaRose on the cross. I believe they ruled that one out on the Firebirds, so another throw-in upcoming here for CSI. This will be Torres there on the throw-in. A long throw from Torres. Headed away by the Firebirds. Still in play for the Dolphins. Torres tries to cross it in front. Still up in the air. Still in front for the Dolphins. LaRose with the shot. And it's saved. Great scoring chance right there for the Dolphins. LaRose with a left-footed shot just goes and is stopped right there back in the net. This game remains scoreless, and now here goes the Firebirds trying to get something going on the other side. Nice move to the inside. Now the Dolphins are trying to clear it away. Cimini is able to do so. Great stop right there by Becerra, saving a goal. In a game that the Firebirds believe should be 1-0, still scoreless. The Dolphins certainly had a chance right there to make it 1-0 for themselves. In the meantime, here comes another corner upcoming for the Firebirds. This will be number 2 of the match. That one headed away by the Dolphins. By Asensio Cueva. This is Tamini now. He kicks it to Becerra. Becerra will now send this one deep. But Romero Estacio is going to be the one that gets it in front of the net. Dolphins looking for a call there, no call. They will play on. Once again looking for a call, maybe a handball there to Meany, but nothing called once again. We'll say there is a number 32 on the pitch. I do not see that on the roster. Must have been a lineup change here. Fibers trying to set up for a shot, but Romero Estacio with the save. Another scoring chance right there for the Firebirds. Make that now 4 shots on goal in this game. Still remains scoreless with just 7:30 to go in this first half. As Torres gave that one a run, but it's cleared away by Johnson. Throw in for the Dolphins. Torres throws it in. Arslan to Cimini. Cimini fakes the pass, shakes the shot, it's blocked. Torres trying to keep it in front. Battling position with Johnson. And they're going toward a goal kick right there for the Firebirds. Cimini faked the pass to LaRose on that play, took the shot. A well-timed block prevented a shot from going on goal. Remains scoreless now with under 7 minutes to go in this first half. Sarah sends this one to the middle of the pitch. And I believe a handball was called. Quick kick from LaRose. Here comes Arslan, and Becerra just kicks it away. Dolphins went very quick on that free kick. Firebirds trying to get something going here. I believe they are called for another foul, and that's indeed the case. Souza de Aquino was called on that last foul. Another free kick for CSI. LaRose battling for positioning here, wins the battle. But miscommunication right there for the Dolphins. LaRose looking to set up a pass right there. It looked like him and William Lopez were just a little bit miscommunicated on that exchange. Sarah sends it deep. It's headed away. Now the Firebirds once again with it. As we saw right there, Oyesa was not able to win that battle. It's another throw-in for CSI. Tough pass right there by LaRose. He does find Arslan on the side, and Arslan's able to draw a whistle. He remains down. It's a yellow card right there, so that will stop the clock. And now they will check to see if Arslan is okay. I believe that was Tamini that was called for the foul right there. Correction, that was Akinsanya. So he's called for the foul. He'll be called for the yellow card. The Dolphins will have a free kick upcoming. It's a good sight to see Arslan is up. It will run. It will jog back towards the middle of the box, trying to set up a potential scoring threat here for CSI. LaRose and Mesrar will be the ones on the attempt right here of this free kick. 4:41 remaining in the first half. Kick from LaRose. In the middle, it's a good one, but just missing a chance right there. But it was tipped by one of the Firebirds, so the Dolphins will get awarded another corner. Number 4 of the matchup. Tough break right there for UDC. They thought they had a goal kick. Instead, Mesrar now will have himself a corner. Dolphins trying to set up another shot right here. Not able to get anything. LaRose trying to get it from going out. He keeps it in play, but it's a great slide tackle right there to send that one away. And now here comes the Firebirds. Battling back and forth right there. Asensio Cueva. This is a Good job of positioning himself to get the Dolphins back the ball. That one headed away. Lopez has it. Nice move by Lopez. Trying to find Torres. He's got a chance right here. Torres looking for some help. Gives it to Cimini inside the box and no call. That was a dangerous spot right there for the Firebirds. No call inside as Cimini was knocked down. Dolphin fans certainly voicing their displeasures right there as we approach the 3-minute mark remaining here in the first half. Stevens Lee. Tamini now to Becerra. Becerra will take his time, try to set up something here. And time is called as a player is down. The aforementioned number 32 that we do not have on our roster. That player will check out. There'll be a substitution momentarily for the Firebirds with 2:44 to go in the first half. Sarah will send this one away. George Shaw is the one that enters in. No call there. Firebirds were looking for something, and now they're going to get a call for sure there. And that might be a yellow potentially. No yellow on the play, but Mesrar is called for the foul. Approaching the 2-minute mark now in the first half. Axel Gamez was the one that got into that matchup right there with Mesrar. He'll be the one to potentially kick this one away on the free kick. Currently Stevens Lee is on the ball. Gamez to his left. Oyesa to his right. Stevens Lee sends that one towards the front of the net. Headed away by the Dolphins. Still in play. Shot attempt wide left by Oyesa. Another chance right there for the Firebirds, but Oyesa's shot went wide left as we are about to hit the 1-minute mark remaining in the first half. We always talk about sometimes in the last 2 minutes of these halves, so we see a lot more pressure being put on by one of the teams. Firebirds put an opportunity right there. Can the Dolphins get something before the first half ends? LaRose wins the battle, has a chance to set up something for CSI. LaRose gets the pass off. Shot attempt for LaRose again. Not in time, and the Dolphins are not able to capitalize right there as there's a clearance by the Firebirds. 30 seconds to go in the half. Cimini. That one cross, looking for Torres, but a good stop by Becerra. And he will send that one away quickly. Chance now for UDC. 10 seconds to go. Romero Stasio will lay down on it, and that will do it for the first half here at Dolphin Soccer Park. Both teams with scoring chances to end that first half. But good defensive stops by both sides keep this game scoreless as we have a scoreless draw going into halftime between the Firebirds and the Dolphins right here on Flow College. As mentioned before, we're still attending to those technical issues. Once we go to commercial break, hopefully those issues are fixed. We will go to commercial for now, As we go into halftime here at Dolphin Soccer Park, it is a scoreless draw between the Firebirds and the Dolphins.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, got 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's gonna listen? You're not gonna get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You can vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Joe Foreman and Nicholas Pavona back with you here on CSI Sportsnet as the second half has just gotten underway between the College of Staten Island and the University of the District of Columbia. No score between the Dolphins and Firebirds as we spent much of halftime trying to figure out some tech issues. We're still working on that now. Nick had to get our scoreboard up a bit late, but it appears he's good to go.
Game, Joe, that still is scoreless, but still some controversy from that first half. That that goal that more than likely should have been called for UDC. The Dolphins had a couple chances late, as well as UDC as well. So could be a different, outcome that we're talking about right now going into the second half, but it is still scoreless as the Firebirds try to set something up here.
Well, both teams had their opportunities during that first half, and while I was attending to some technical problems, Nick, I think the Dolphins had what was, without dispute, the best chance of the match for either team. Peterson LaRose in front was in close up near the post and tried to stick one just inside the post from point-blank range. A lot of traffic around him. No goalkeeper in net. It was LaRose with an empty net in front of him, some defenders close by, but LaRose could not get the shot off, or at least could not get it off on goal. I think he slammed it off the post from in close. I was over the engineering controls, so we don't have a replay of that, but it was a good look for LaRose, the best look for either team, and we said it during the first half, Nick. What it has come down to for the Dolphins so many times this year is whether or not they have finished on their opportunities. In many games, those have been few, as that's headed out of the box, rolling toward the touchline, and the Dolphins are forced to play it near the corner. It's gotten a bit chilly outside as well, Nick.
It has. It certainly has, Joe. For our camera operator, Pat, he's not happy not happy with the weather change.
Yeah, we can feel it coming in through the windows, and I think, as I said during our last broadcast, all season long the weather was fantastic with the exception of the one game I missed, so I guess I bring the sunshine with me.
Do you want that moniker?
Not sure.
Just
don't call me sunshine.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound like you.
No. Certainly not.
Speaking of the sun, it's starting to go away a little bit. We're starting to see some clouds.
Bit overcast as we approach 4 p.m. here on Staten Island. Dolphins will throw here. Looking at our video feed, Nick, I think it looks a little better.
Okay.
But I know what the issue is. The issue is that our wireless transmitter not being too close causes some frames to drop. And when that happens, the video is slowed down to compensate and isn't as fluid as it could be. Generally speaking, as what is going on with our audio, Nick?
We swapped headsets, so now trying to monitor our levels again. I don't know how we did.
You handed me this headset.
I know. I don't know how we did.
I must have put my head. Yeah, I'm louder on my own headset now. I can feel it. I must have put my headset down when I went to attend to the system.
I think we're good now. I just have to fix my volumes.
Yeah, the video looks a bit better, but not clear.
Yeah. I do apologize for the audio, but I thought something was up because I looked at it and I kept seeing the levels. I kept, why is Joe going up to this level when we have been using the same headset?
It's weird because the output on the monitor is clear, but I can see on my second screen on my phone that it's a little bit slower. The monitor looks way better. Like the monitor, there's no issue at all.
Right.
And the monitor is a preview of what is being output. So this could be on the receiving end, Nick. Because I'm looking at the monitor. The monitor is perfect. It's more so when the camera pans. That's when I see it. I see it when the camera pans. When the camera is still, everything looks as if I'm watching it with my own two eyes.
Right.
Like right now on the monitor, all looks good. But enough about that, as that's crossed into the box and over the end line.
Gotta love talking about technology sometimes when.
There's nothing I hate more than faulty tech.
Yep, we know. That's a big reason why you're testing this out on Saturday for basketball.
Yeah, I'll have to schedule that venue test for Saturday before swim, maybe after. Yeah, we'll have to see if they have afternoon times. Probably not available Saturday, though. Maybe I could do it Friday before I set up. Firebirds moving in. We won't be back here again as UDC tries a quick give and go, working toward the end line. Dolphins forced to spill it over, and UDC is awarded a corner kick.
It's starting to get like, Joe, I feel like one of those games where one goal might just be the difference maker in this matchup.
Could be all it takes.
That's not something you want to hear.
Corner was sent to the center of the box. Chance for a long shot. Travels way high.
Question is, did you hear what I heard?
I don't think I did because you reacted and I wasn't sure what you were referring to.
Unless that was another instance like we had at Little League Baseball where maybe it was someone's engine from a car or motorcycle.
You think you heard thunder?
I thought I heard it.
I don't think so. Unless the skies are looking awfully ominous over our heads where we can't see.
Yeah, it could have just been what I mentioned before, where you and I both thought it was thunder and it was a motorcycle. Very well could have been that. Let's hope it's at least that. Because we already saw rain, or shouldn't say saw, but we heard rain last night. Don't want to happen again here.
Here comes UDC through the midfield, but that ball too strong in the direction of Gomez. Long ball up the pitch. Johnson forced to chase it down, and it is cleared over the far side in the midfield. Throw immediately off the Firebirds and back over the touchline. Dolphins will try again. Torres not in close enough to attempt that long throw yet. Dolphins break up that attacking play for the Firebirds along the sideline. UDC will throw now. As we approach 8 minutes gone by here in the second half, still no score between the Dolphins and Firebirds. And we've talked plenty about the importance of this game for the Dolphins, but if you're CSI, I think it gets late and it's still scoreless, you're going to have to take some chances.
Yeah, you have to take those chances, and we talked about it. You have to capitalize it at the end of the day. And if you're looking at side of things from CSI, there's potential threat here for the Firebirds.
Cimini able to at least send it into the midfield, but Firebirds there waiting. Long shot well wide.
If you're looking at this for the Dolphins, we talked about how must-win it feels like at this point now for the season with 3 games left, including this one today. And then if you're the Firebirds, you're in a spot where you're looking very comfortable in terms of playoff positioning. You don't want to get too comfortable because nothing is clinched yet for you, but you would at least, with a win today, would like to feel a little bit more comfortable thinking, okay, we pretty much have this one locked up, just need a couple points.
Dolphins working forward here. Arslan toward the end line, and it will be a goal kick.
Yeah, that was tough because Lopez made a great move there, Joe, to get it to Arslan, but Arslan just really couldn't find any positioning to try to cross it or set up a shot. So it leads to that goal kick upcoming for the Firebirds.
Goal kick travels straight through the midfield, and immediately UDC on the attack. Through ball toward the corner.
The flag is up.
Offsides flag up against Akinsanya.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it now. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit.
All right, Nick, we're going to set up a stream test for next Wednesday. Ball knocked over the far side.
A lot of storylines going into basketball for both the women and the men. You know, both teams making the playoffs last season. Of course, the women making it all the way to the championship game. And both teams have high expectations, Joe. They're going into each respective team is going in, I believe, preseason top 3 in the ECC polls.
Should be an exciting start to the season. We'll get an extended look at both teams, a couple of games in a 3-day span for each, plus some regional competition coming in for both the Conference Challenge and the Tournament of Heroes. Always one of the biggest events on our athletic calendar. Takeaway by the Dolphins here. Mesrar moving forward across midfield with some speed. Looking to play Torres through. Torres has a step toward the outside. Is forced toward the sideline by Johnson. Circling back, he connects with Arslan. Arslan, short pass, Mesrar. Mesrar moving in toward the 18. Wanted Torres, but Firebirds able to clear again. Throw in here, headed off the body of LaRose. And that one way upstairs. And we've seen that a couple of times from both teams, looking to put a shot on goal, trying to generate something. And that one, not even close, way above the bar.
Yeah, Arslan certainly sent that one up miles high, Joe, trying to figure out, try to get some type of shot on. And as I mentioned, the positioning for the Firebirds these last couple possessions have been really good on the defensive side because the Dolphins really haven't had a clear shot since the end of that first half. They really haven't been able to get anything clean to start the second half.
UDC with it now. Dolphins applying some pressure on Gomez toward the touchline. Akinsanya works it back short to Tamini. That one off the foot of Parker, and he did keep it in, but could not get it to Gomez. Beaton tracks it down for CSI. Oyesa off the volley. Now LaRose had to send it toward Atonga, but pass off the mark over the touchline. Quick throw. LaRose for Beaton. Beaton back into the midfield. Arslan looking to turn the corner there and was forced toward the touchline, but the Dolphins maintain possession with a throw. LaRose working around two Firebirds and draws the foul.
So LaRose will be the one that will set up this next upcoming shot. Potential cross right here for CSI.
And the volley by Torres just high over the bar.
And it might have been tipped, Joe, because I think they're setting up for a Dolphins corner, potentially. And it is. It was tipped.
Another corner headed away by UDC. Firebirds now accelerating toward the midfield. And good body positioning there by Lopez. Asensio Cuevas sent that one off of a Firebird, and It stays in along the touchline. Arslan taken down, and that will draw a whistle. Free kick toward the edge of the attacking third, headed back into the midfield. Here comes UDC. Dolphins quickly take it right back from Shaw. That ball in the direction of LaRose. Akinsanya tracked it down, and it will be a Dolphins throw as he was forced to spill it over the near sideline. Atanga, quick throw. LaRose pivoting, looked to cross, and there's nobody there as that ball traveled right along the end line into the arms of Becerra. Beaton with the sliding tackle, did not contact the ball. Shaw did get around him, but not with possession. Dolphins spill it over the sideline again, and UDC will throw.
Yeah, that's a great play by Shaw there, Joe, because we've seen Beaton with those slide tackles throughout the year and able to get past it and does award himself a throw-in after that play.
Firebird substitutions now in the gate. Number 9, Alexander Moody Stewart, and number 14, Yama Nawabi.
Long throw on the way. It does reach the box. Poor first touch by the Dolphins, and that shot was partially blocked. Dangerous moment there as Parker looked to put one on goal. CSI with enough bodies in front of that ball. LaRose in the midfield, again surrounded by white jerseys, gets away. Now Beaton, short pass, Lopez, quick turn. Strong challenge coming in from Stevens Lee. Down goes Atanga. Lopez again between two Firebirds, keeps it on his foot and draws contact. Just has such a knack for knowing when to slow down, when to stop, and getting the defender to barrel over him. He draws the whistle.
It's another whistle in this game, and we've seen that a little bit the last couple minutes, Joe. The physicality is starting to increase a little bit from that first half. These two teams trying to battle it out to get that first goal.
Two players come together there. Asensio Cueva wins that battle. Now Torres in the direction of Lopez. Lopez immediately pressured from behind again by Stevens Lee. This is Medito across the midfield stripe over to Beaton. Beaton working forward. Connects with Arslan. Arslan again back across midfield toward the Dolphins goal. It's Medito. Beaton. Long pass, connects with Mesrar. Mesrar fending off Parker. Now Beaton with it again. This is LaRose. LaRose, quick turn. Akinsanya with him. LaRose looking for a lane to cross. He does, and Torres could not get it on his foot. He wanted Asensio Cueva in stride as well. The pass broken up, and here come the Firebirds. Big moment there for the Dolphins. Torres had the lane to shoot. The ball was there. He could not control it. UDC on the counter. Nawabi working against Atanga. Spins back the other way. Ball through everybody. Chasing it down is Tahir. Johnson. Put a lot on that pass. He gets it right back. UDC slowing things down a bit. Tahir gets around Mesrar. Asensio Cueva over. It's headed away by Medito. And Lopez will allow Shaw to send it over the sideline.
Big sequence right there the last few minutes. As you mentioned, Dolphins had a great chance, and Torres just missing it on that pass by LaRose.
Dolphins going to throw here as we get another look at what would have been a great scoring chance for Torres. And we've mentioned the Dolphins coming a finish or two short in more than one match this year, but sometimes it's the finishes that never get an opportunity to be made that can prove costly. And it looked like Torres was going to have a great chance to score there off that pass from LaRose and just couldn't bring it in on his foot. Meanwhile, the Dolphins have committed another foul in the attacking third. We don't have a free kick tally in the live stats, but UDC's had at least 4 or 5 from within fairly close to the 18. Firebirds taking their time getting set ahead of this free kick as we approach 24 minutes to play. Free kick on the way in a dangerous position, headed out by Torres. Ball stays with UDC briefly. Moody Stewart racing toward the sideline was pressured into conceding a Dolphins throw. Tonga will throw. The official dictating to him where he should be positioned. Throw bounces around, controlled by LaRose. LaRose for Alvarado. Alvarado keeps it in along the touchline, but not quite. That ball just got over before the Firebirds cleared. And UDC will throw with 23 minutes remaining.
Tough, really no, room for real estate right there, Joe, for him to try to make something on that side. Just was not given enough.
I think what you're looking for there is an opportunity for Alvarado one-on-one to beat his marker. I think where the ball landed, he didn't have a lot of space, as you said, Nick. And here comes Arslan. He had a step. And
no call.
Wow. I'm a bit surprised there, Nick. A bit surprised. It looked like Arslan had the step. We'll get another look at it once we have a stoppage. But UDC quickly to work at the other end. Nawabi had it knocked away by Beaton. Corner kick upcoming for the Firebirds. Here's one more look. And Nick, I'm inclined to say that was a foul.
Yeah.
I think where you get the foul for me is where the arm was extended. It looked like Arslan had a step, and once you extend that arm to try and reestablish position, I think that's where you get the call from me. But I am by no means an expert on soccer officiating, not even close. So maybe some hand fighting is allowed. As that one is over,
Ooh.
And I'll tell you, Nick, the player who made contact with that one in front was not facing toward goal. It was going to take a very improbable header from Moody Stewart. He came about as close as you can without putting that one on goal. That is tough to do. It looked like he used the rear of his head.
Yeah, well, another bad turnover right there for CSI.
Nawabi, back post, header is saved! Romero Astacio stops the leaping header from in close. And the Dolphins keep this game scoreless for now. What a stop by the Dolphins goalkeeper.
A huge one, to say the least, Joe. You'll see right here on the header, he just is able to punch out over the top of the crossbar and keep the game scoreless, as we have another corner upcoming here for the Firebirds, making now 4 for the matchup.
I believe that was Isaiah Daniel on the header. Near post, header again, second try is good. One header into another, and UDC goes in front 1-0.
Great job by UDC, Joe. You mentioned it. Takes 2 headers to get them their first goal of this game, and it could be potentially the deciding factor in this one. As you'll see a second look right here. There's the first header. There's the second one. Can't draw it up any better right there if you're the Firebirds. They take a 1-0 lead with 20:39 to go in regulation.
The Dolphins were hoping for an offsides flag, but that was all that could stop UDC from taking the lead. And at this juncture in the game, at this juncture in the season, it might be fair to say, Nick, it is desperation time for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They need a goal. They need points in the conference standings. And they have about 20 minutes and 40 seconds to register an equalizing goal. I think at the very least you need at least a point today. Dolphins now, you'd expect, Nick, are about to get a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, I think you have to at this point. Your season's on the line at this point in the year, and you mentioned it. It's all about getting points at the end of the day. So this team needs to figure out a way. They've had some scoring chances in this game, but as we talked about it, they're failing to capitalize for what's been a problem for them this season. Can they get something going here late? 20 and change to go, trying to at least tie this game at 1.
Mathematically, the Dolphins would not be eliminated with a loss today, but they would need a lot of help, plus wins in their last 2 games.
Right.
So it would be a tough road to the postseason without points today. And the Dolphins are left with just under 20 minutes to pick up a big goal and not allow anymore. Keep that in mind as well. Firebirds look to send it through the midfield, and you can see it already, Nick. The Dolphin backs a bit higher up the pitch.
Yeah.
And there could be some vulnerabilities in the back if UDC is able to develop a counter quickly, and they have a takeaway, but good job by Mesrar there. Lopez racing up the pitch. Ball in the corner, and Firebirds content to let some time bleed away. Dolphins concede a throw here. Mesrar working along the near side, could keep it in play. And I think we had a foul call against UDC before that ball traveled over, or perhaps against the Dolphins.
It was a throw. It was going to be a throw.
I thought it was going to be a throw UDC, but the Dolphins played it back to the official.
Yeah, Mesrar kicked it back into the pitch, and I think UDC was trying to get some kind of a whistle there. But
that certainly doesn't help you in terms of time.
Yeah.
Every second precious for the Dolphins right now in a game they have to have. At the very least, have to have a point.
They got a foul call right there as Torres was tripped up.
Dolphins, for much of the season in conference play, Nick, simply have not scored enough. And today, without a goal, could very well end up on the wrong end of a shutout once again. It just seems like so many times this year, Nick, this team has been right there in games that they've lost. And they've had a really thrilling win here on Sportsnet as well in that game against Georgian Court. A multi-goal game. Could be the only one, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check that, Nick. But in terms of multiple goal games, that win over the Lions of Georgian Court may very well be the only time this team has scored multiple goals.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time remembering as well, but I think you are indeed right.
I think I am. I'm double checking, and indeed that is the case. Chance here for Alvarado, moving ahead with some speed. Alvarado sent it in front, but there's nobody there.
Yeah, Mesrar went down. He was running with him, and then he got tangled up, and he's still down.
He's holding his face here. They've stopped the clock at 16:35.
Didn't really see what happened on the sequence. Do have the replay of it. So we have a better look right here. There you see, he got into a little bit of an engagement right there in the middle, but looks like either they banged heads or maybe hit one of the body parts. Wasn't sure exactly what happened. Judging by where I'm looking at right now, I think he's holding his nose right now. So he might have gotten hit right there. And now he's going to be called for a foul.
So another free kick for UDC. This one not quite as close as the last one, but when you get a free kick in this area of the pitch, Nick, oftentimes it does lead to that corner kick. You'll see a lot of the time one of these put toward goal, the defending team forced to send it over the touchline, and all of a sudden corner kick, and as we've seen already, those can be awfully dangerous.
It's already led to 1 goal here for the Firebirds. Can they get something here?
Free kick on the way. Dolphins headed out of the 18. LaRose wanted Alvarado. Looked like UDC got a piece of that pass. Down goes Alvarado, but it will be a Dolphins throw. Ball sent back across midfield, headed by Medito. Just over 15 minutes to play. UDC going to throw from alongside the Dolphins bench. Going down the line, Nick, looking at games that I've covered this year. You look at the game against American International. That's a game the Dolphins certainly could have won. It was a 1-1 final. You could make the case that they maybe should have won it, given that a goal was waved off. As LaRose's pass for Alvarado headed away by Johnson, Alvarado will track it down. The game against Roberts Wesleyan, that was a 1-goal loss. They tied Dominican. They tied Malloy. Fell by a goal to Stack, and fell by a goal to D'Youville. You look at these results, a lot of 1-goal games, a lot of ties.
Yellow card right there issued a beat-in.
This team has lost just once by multiple goals. Every other loss has been a 1-goal game. And prior to this game, of course the shutout may not stand, but prior to today, the Dolphins have been shut out twice. I'd like to know the last season where there was not a single game that saw the two teams combine over 4 goals for men's soccer. It's a testament to the defense, the goalkeeping, and at times the struggle to score.
Right.
Twice in the first 3 games last year, the Dolphins and their opponent combined for 5 goals. That was twice in 3 games. Didn't even have to scroll down further last year. I think the nature of the games we've covered this year have been very, very different from the past. We've seen a lot more high-scoring games the last couple of seasons. 2 years ago on opening day, the Dolphins won 4-0. Whistle on this free kick, and they'll do it again. Just 3 games in, 2 regular season games in, that is. 2 regular season games in 2023. The Dolphins and Assumption University Greyhounds combined for 7 goals. The first game of 2022, the Dolphins and Bloomsburg combined for 8 goals. So you don't have to look very far in seasons past to see that there are plenty of instances where the Dolphins were a part of high-scoring games.
And we know that this team could score. That's the thing, Joe. We know that they have the capability of putting the ball in the net, but they haven't really been able to do so. We know that ability is there.
Chance here for UDC. Cross broken up. Firebirds will try again, and the Dolphins are forced to send it over the end line.
It's all coming down to figuring out a way to get yourself in that position to score, which the Dolphins at points during the season have gotten themselves in that position, but either it's a shot that's beautifully saved, a shot that goes offline, sometimes a shot that's blocked. It's just been a couple of things that really haven't gone CSI's way that have allowed them to score some goals in some of these games.
Firebirds will line up for another corner kick. It is their 5th. Both teams with 5 corners in this match. And Romero Estacio, who was contacted from down low, punches it away. Gets back in position as Mesrar is forced to clear. They've stopped the clock at 12:59. UDC going to make substitutions here. Dolphins with 12:59 to go. I think probably need at least one, Nick. Their season could end on Saturday without a point.
They have to find a way.
If they don't score today.
They have to find a way to get a goal this last 13 minutes.
We await a UDC throw deep into the box. And the Dolphins control. LaRose into the midfield. Hugo Soriat checked in for the Dolphins at that last substitution. I was about to make that point, and I was trying to find him on the pitch to confirm, but Soriat in there. We had another whistle along the sideline.
It's going to be a free kick upcoming here for the Firebirds, I believe. Or at least I thought so. Might just be a regular throw-in.
Yeah, I thought the official pointed at the turf, which is why I hesitated to elaborate on the whistle, but it is indeed a free kick, Nick. We were right. It's just inside the touchline, so free kick coming up. Under 12 minutes to play, as that will end up in the arms of Romero Estacio. Took a bit of a funky hop on him there. Watch out.
I don't think technically it didn't land in his arms.
Yeah, it eventually got there after he picked it up, you know. Here come the Dolphins,
Offside.
and the flag is up.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was unfortunately going to get called.
Those are definitely crowd killers. Fans to their feet, ready to see an attacking play develop, and you look over, flag up.
Well, how many times did we see that in the women's game on Saturday with Queens? How many times did they get offside? I think it was like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Where they got into position and then they went offside and the flag went up. The clock's being stopped.
11:06 remaining. Look at you, right on top of it.
The best.
No one better. Nobody better.
Good to my own horn.
Won't argue with that. There's a reason you're here. I don't employ people who make my job harder. You know that.
Well, as someone that's done, scoreboard experience from the high school level and the collegiate level, I want to make sure I get it right.
I've always had one rule for anybody that I bring on to the crew for broadcasting, whether it's here or on my own personal crew for company games. If you don't make my job easier,
then why are you
what
here?
am I paying you for?
Why are you here?
You know? You need to contribute something that makes the job easier. Otherwise, I can just do the game solo.
I remember I tried to do a football game one time with the clock, and you guys looked at me like madmen.
I looked at you like, Nick, we're not doing that here. We're not doing that here. That's a lot.
Wasn't sure. I had to be, I had to double check. I think I did one quarter and I was doing good, and then the second quarter started, and there were so many replays. I said, never mind.
It's really, really tough. We don't have football here. I think, given her experience with football elsewhere, I think Sam next door is pretty happy about that.
That's true.
Can do without the football. As much as we love football,
Yes.
it is a big lift on game day.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts.
That being said, we get our fix. Plenty of football for us. We get our fix. The American kind.
I was
in
to
this
say
case.
we're watching some football right now.
Finally, the Firebirds able to clear there. Ball in the midfield with UDC.
Dolphins substitution, now in the game, number 19, Nate Aligar.
Dolphins, I believe, just made a substitution that was announced.
They did.
Okay. Did not catch it. Who did they say came in?
Trying to look.
I thought I heard 18, but that's Peterson LaRose, so definitely did not hear correctly. It was number 19.
Yep.
Made Ali Guard.
Yep. The clock is stopped.
8:53 to go. Free kick, UDC. Tonga off a good CSI bounce, turns up the pitch quickly. Down he goes. Might have tried to sell that one just a bit, Nick.
You got to do what you got to do at this point, right, Joe?
There was contact, but I don't know if there was quite that much. Goal kick, Staten Island is the ruling there as that ball traveled over the end line. We approach 8 minutes to go. The Dolphins getting to work quickly on the attack.
Yeah, you can see the sense of urgency right now from this team, Joe. They're trying to find a way to get that goal. And that's why, you saw that last sequence. He was trying to draw the call because you're trying to get anything at this point.
That one cleared away over the touchline. Dolphins will throw with 8 minutes to play. Soriat into the center of the pitch. Lopez keeps his footing, gets it away. Puleo into the box, and too long. Goal kick, UDC, under 7.5 to play.
They're going to, of course, take their time.
It's been relatively uneventful since this became a one-goal game. Throw in UDC for midfield now. Foul whistled against the Dolphins there. The bench does not like it. And the official has told them that is enough.
Yeah, they might have just been given a yellow. Clock was just stopped. Might have been a warning.
Well, they did not show the yellow, but as they say, head coach Donato Curci getting his money's worth. He's still going.
Well, not only is the urgency from the players, but the urgency is from the coaching staff as well. They know that this game time is of the essence right now.
I think the frustration is mounting, Nick. I think without a doubt we're seeing that. As Torres heads it away off the free kick, the Dolphins hoping for a quick counter won't get that chance. Cross broken up, Lopez.
Collision right there.
Big collision there. The Dolphins controlled and a miscommunication between Ali Guard and Torres.
Good luck retrieving that one.
Looks like they're practicing some throws over there, track and field, getting some reps in. Maybe they can get some steps in as
Tell you what, I don't miss those days.
extra ball runner.
I do not miss the days of
You
shot
were a
putter.
thrower?
I was a shot putter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My cousin was as well. Do you have any unflattering photos of yourself mid-throw?
No, I don't. I mean, at least that I don't know of.
Yeah, my cousin had some what we called meme material photos of him making some very awkward facial expressions as he threw.
I'm sure I definitely did make a weird expression, but I couldn't tell you if there's a photo or not of it.
I'll tell you, is Dolphins hoping that Arslan can get something started here. Atanga could not connect on the volley.
What a chance right there for CSI.
The opportunity was there, and Atanga whiffed on the shot attempt. But my cousin had some meme material photos of himself making very awkward facial expressions as he threw. And as I was about to say, part of the job when you're choosing headline photos and taking photos and making graphics in my former role, you need to make sure that you know who will be upset by an unflattering photo.
Yeah.
Won't name names, but over the years, we've worked with a lot of student athletes who get very upset if you do not choose a flattering photo. It
Yeah.
has to be chosen precisely. Sometimes they want you to okay it with them. They
Yeah.
don't want to be used at all in promotional material.
Well, I'll tell you what. If there was an unflattering photo of me, I'm of the.
You would not care.
I would not really.
You would not care.
I honestly would not care.
You would not care. Pat would not care. Joe would not care. I would very much care.
Yeah.
Nick would very much care. Here come the Dolphins again.
That one, Joe. I'm not sure what the play was there because they had a chance. And on that pass, it just seemed like there was more miscommunication. We've seen that a lot in this game.
Well, if you take a look out there, Nick, something else that maybe we haven't highlighted enough is that the Dolphins have used a lot of players in this game, and there's an alignment out there right now that we haven't seen together very much.
All right.
Off the bench out there, Paleo, Soriat, Ali Gard. I believe the rest of the Dolphins out there are starters. But in the midfield and at forward, we've seen some changes here late in this game. That ball sent towards Soriat. It's a good one. He's working toward the end line, tried to cross it, but it was knocked down. Dolphins will set up for a long throw, perhaps. We know Ty Torres very capable of the long throw. It's a good one. And a foul whistled against the Dolphins. I think they got Torres for being on the pitch when he threw it. I think he got a bit too much on that throw. He hit the foot of Lopez on the fly.
Yeah.
And now the clock has been stopped. Yellow card coming out. And Torres receives the booking.
You look right there at that sequence. You saw it right there on the heel. But I thought maybe that's what the initial whistle, at least the Dolphins were hoping that was what the whistle was for.
So they'll let UDC throw from right where the Dolphins committed the violation on the throw. UDC just hoping to get this one out of their own end. Unsuccessful so far. Soriat looking to turn, had a step. Soriat got it to Atanga, but he didn't have any room. Atanga along the touch line, and the Dolphins earn a corner. Firebirds can't believe it. They can't make anyone happy out there, Nick.
No, they cannot. And we saw how what happened on Saturday in the last men's matchup with the officiating. So I'll leave it at that.
We've gone through the full gamut of rhymes already as that corner into traffic, headed back into the 18 by Mesrar and cleared by UDC. But we have the elation of a goal scored, the frustration,
The devastation.
of calls, devastation for the losing team, celebration for the winners. And for us, this is our final destination.
Hopefully not the movie, though.
No, not like that. This is not a horror movie. Not yet, anyway.
We are in the Halloween season, so people
Admittedly,
might be
Nick,
watching that.
if we're online and have voice, I'm feeling good.
Yeah. You have to be.
If we were to make changes to the live stream down the line, we would probably lose instant replay.
Which is very, very
Unfortunate.
vital. Yeah.
Well, we could still provide replay for the officials. There is a way to do that. So, Nick, if you look at how our monitor is set up, instead of running the cable into a monitor, all we would have to do is run it into production truck on a second laptop, and we'd have no problem. So we'd be able to do that.
Because you definitely will need it for basketball. There are sequences of basketball we've had over the years where
Well,
we've had to
the
use
thing
it
is, we wouldn't be able to see it on the broadcast. It would be for the officials.
Right.
That's a discussion for next week. Once again, UDC sends it through the midfield. The Dolphins forced to give chase. This is Romero Estacio with 1:45 remaining. A lot of frustration out there right now.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out somewhere to go with the ball.
Well, I can't tell because we really can't see the crowd. There's the frustration coming from aspiring coaches in the crowd, from the Dolphins bench.
That was the coaches that time.
The aspiring coaches.
Yes.
Okay. So they have no place on the bench.
Yeah, it's one where they're trying to get the ball down the pitch, but there was just nothing really there for the Dolphins. And immediately after that happened, it led to this free kick. And you see it, Joe. We're about to hit the 1 minute mark. Dolphins are running out of time.
Statistically, the Firebirds have definitely gotten the better of possession. Shots, they have an advantage as well on goal, 7-4. Overall shots, UDC with 16 and CSI with 13. It's not as if the Dolphins have been statistically dominated in this game, and that reflects on the scoreboard. It's a one-goal game.
It's been back and forth for the majority.
But admittedly, Nick, since that LaRose opportunity in the first half, the Dolphins have not had...
The chances haven't been there. Yeah.
They haven't had a chance where you really were thinking, okay, this is where they convert. It's been more of just trying to get that opportunity rather than having a big chance on goal. I'll tell you, Nick, with Becerra coming out the way he was right there.
That could have been dangerous.
That could have very easily landed behind him. He was fortunate.
That should do it.
And the final seconds will tick off the clock here at Dolphins Soccer Park as the Dolphins will drop another one-goal result, this time at home against the University of the District of Columbia. Our final score, the Firebirds over the Dolphins 1-0. And Nick, at the top of the broadcast, we mentioned how important this game was for the Dolphins' playoff hopes. Those playoff hopes take a really big hit with this result. The Firebirds closing in on securing a playoff spot.
Yeah, certainly one where the Dolphins now, Joe, we talked about it, 2 games left in the season. They're at least trying to get this one going. Now, we do have our graphic up. There is a little bit of a conversation towards the middle of the pitch. Hopefully it doesn't escalate to everything, obviously. But other than that, the Dolphins, we talked about before, the chances were there for them in this game, but in the second half, those chances really didn't develop for them. And that was the difference of this one. The Firebirds got a great goal and a doubleheader off of the corner kick, and that's all they needed to do. I mentioned it to start the second half. It kind of felt like that type of a game where one goal was going to be the deciding factor. That is indeed the case as the Firebirds get the job done, and they are inching closer to a now postseason berth.
UDC, I would say a win or maybe even a point and some help away from locking up a playoff spot. Dolphins in must-win territory now the last 2 games. They're going to need at least 5 points to tie Mercy. If they defeated the Mavericks and then got 1 against Damon in their finale, mathematically they would still have a chance, but it's going to be tough. In fact, Nick, Mercy now has 9 points. So the Dolphins are in dire straits at this point. UDC with 8, Mercy with 9, Malloy and Deauville right now, the 2 closest teams, but Deauville is also on the outside looking in. I think if you're the Dolphins here, you have to win the last 2. You're going to need some help. This was a game that you really had to have if you're CSI, and unfortunately the season at home ends with a defeat against the Firebirds. And Nick, for us, this is our last time on Sportsnet for soccer in the 2025 season. For you and I, it's off the air for about 3 weeks. We come back on November 14th. Men's basketball opens the 2025 season as part of our Tournament of Heroes. 3 games on Friday the 14th, a triple header. How we're going to air those games, Nick, remains to be seen. The Dolphins games are all going to air on Flow College. Depending on where the other teams house their broadcasts, the rest of those streams could go live elsewhere. More information to come when that date gets closer. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman on the call alongside Nicholas Pavona. Once again, our final score from Dolphins Soccer Park, 1-0 UDC over Staten Island. The Dolphins back in action at Mercy this weekend. You can catch that game on Flow College, as well as every soccer broadcast for the men the rest of the way. Both conference matchups. Tune in on Saturday as the Dolphins visit Mercy on the road. And everyone, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night.